Hello, everybody, and I want to welcome you all to another session of Live with David Lewis. I am your host, David Lewis. Today is Friday, May 6, 2022, and as always, I hope you're all doing well and being safe. We've got a great topic today. The topic is how to handle sticker shock. And as always, I shout out to Dino DeLuca, who's our Director of Training Development, did a great job putting together some notes for me as he does every week, so I appreciate that. So let's jump into it. Sticker shock is a big thing right now. In 2021 alone, Americans paid on average $6,220 more for a new car than they had the previous year. Used cars are selling at an increase of 39% over the previous year. Despite these increases, new car sales rose 3.5% and used car sales rose a little over 10%. So sticker shock is not stopping people from buying cars. You would think that with prices going through the roof, that we would be selling less cars based on the inventory situation, but we're actually doing very, very well. But we still have an issue with sticker shock. The main reason we have sticker shock is clearly supply and demand. I mean, there's just not enough cars for everybody that wants to buy one. And some of us are in a situation where we can actually, demand more money for our cars, thus the increase in gross profits, which are fantastic for us. It's also taught us that we can sell our cars for more money and we don't have to, scramble and negotiate every single car deal, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. But what's the real reason why consumers are paying more for these cars? Well, because we're demanding those prices based on supply and demand, and our mindset is different. We think differently now about the pricing of the car. We don't go into it, asking to negotiate, the if we could, would use. We know people that are shopping the same type price. A lot of dealerships putting those add-on window stickers on. So we're all in this together and we're all benefiting from this together. Don't forget, though, that we've gone through the past 25 years, 30, 40, 50 years of selling cars below cost to get someone to buy one. So it is different for us. It's unique and it is exciting. But also don't forget that price is and always will be a mindset. The term has always been gross is a state of mind. Price is a state of mind. We've used it in our industry to us, where when we were having trouble creating profits, we would say, hey, gross is a state of mind. But we also have to remember that it's also a state of mind in the customer. To them, it's price is a state of mind. To us, it's gross is a state of mind. So we have to keep changing their mindset. And by doing so, we will continue to create more grosses. What we really want to do is continue this trend going, even when we start to get inventory. We still want to be able to sell more cars and make more money in the process. So when people come into your dealership and they have sticker shock, okay, there's a right way and a wrong way to approach this. A wrong approach, and let me read this to you, is, someone would say, take it or leave it, Mr. Customer. There's a big demand for this car and we have the only one within 200 miles. So if you don't want it, someone will gladly pay this price before noon today. That is the wrong way to handle this situation. It's the exact opposite of how to handle sticker shock. And we don't want to do that to somebody. Why? Well, there's multiple reasons. Well, first of all, customers will remember that we treated them that way and they won't come back to us. Two, it's crude and arrogant. It's a very cocky attitude. Three, it's uncaring and ruthless. But number four, and this is for me, it's just wrong. It's wrong to make that kind of statement to somebody. Have a little empathy for these people. Some of these people are in the market because they need to buy a car. Maybe their lease is up. Maybe they've had an accident. Maybe they just need another car and they need this. So to have that kind of disrespectful attitude is just wrong. The right approach is going to be to educate your customer on why price is the way it is. Use empathy in the process of getting to understand why they're paying this price. Make people feel good. Now, there are three very important factors that come into play here. Number one is you must offset the higher price with higher value. We've got to do better at creating and selling higher value. Again, let me read this. Mr. Customer, the addendum on this vehicle represents the new value of the vehicle that is 100% based on the supply and demand of the vehicle. So yes, you are paying an additional $3,000 for the car, but the car is also worth $3,000 more based again on supply and demand. Am I saying the same thing? Yes, I'm just saying it differently. I'm explaining it through value. It is price justification, okay? You're providing justification for your price and you're not jamming that price down somebody's throat. Number two, let the customer know what it means to buy a car from you. Sell yourself. Sell everything about you and what you've got. Lay it all on the line. Be open, be honest, be caring. Okay. Mr. Customer, the addendum on this vehicle also comes with something that no other dealership could offer you. And that something is me. I come with the process, especially if you're a salesperson that has been selling cars at that specific dealership or in your market area for a long period of time. When you've been there 10, 15, 20 years, that's a great statement. And tell people that, hey, I've been here for 15 years and there's a reason why, because I take care of my customers, whether it be now, later in the future. I'm here for you should you need me. And number three, let them know what it means to buy a car from your dealership. I mean, this is very valuable to a lot of people. Whatever your dealership offers, let them know about it. Say it with passion and excitement. Make sure you follow all the steps. I'm a huge believer on that service walk, and I know not everybody does it, and I cannot understand why. It's a 5, 6, 7-minute process at the end of the demonstration drive, at the end of the final walk around. Mr. and Mrs. Customer, I'd like to show you something here at the dealership that we're really proud of. And just start walking towards service. They're going to follow you, and I don't make it a long, drawn-out process. It's a here's how service operates. Here's our service advisors. Here's how you pull in. We've got X amount of mechanics. We've got a fully stocked parts department. Here's our customer lounge. It's a nice transition, and it just sells your dealership. It's that piece of the puzzle that so many people missed. So how about a little history here? So who coined the phrase or the term sticker shock? Well, it was actually Lee Iacocca back in the 1980s. Now, for those of you that have been around, such as I, and were selling cars such as I in the 80s, you'll remember a couple of things. First of all, we had tremendous inflation. Inflation was going up at 10% per year. And car shopping, prices jumped over 50% based on inflation. So he coined the term sticker shock. People were walking into the dealership and they were just sticker shocked by what they were seeing on those price tags. So what was there to blame? Was it a lousy economy that created the sticker shock? No. Was it inflation that caused the sticker shock? No. It ended up being greed on our end, because we started to get more money and we wanted to keep that situation going. The manufacturers were losing money on every car sold, but there still was sticker shock. So what's the moral of the story? Why am I sharing this with you? Because again, sticker shock is a state of mind. And I said that to you earlier. It's all up here. It's your state of mind. It's up to us as the salesperson to now determine the customer state of mind and make sure that they understand the process. So there's an old saying in our business: when value exceeds price, the customer will buy. You've got to create that value. Sticker shock typically occurs before value is created. Because when people walk on the lot, we all know they walk to the cars. What's the first thing they look at? They look at the window sticker. And now some of you are adding those addendums. So now they're seeing the addendums and they're seeing the added value that you're giving them. Do some people think it's added value? I don't know. Do some people don't want those products? I don't know. Unfortunately, they're there. And that is part of the price. So if you've done your job perfectly, the customer should only experience sticker shock for a very brief moment in time. It's the same situation when the customer walks in the lot, very defensive. We have to do things to lower that defensive posture. When we notice they're very defensive, it's questions like, do you need to buy a car today? And when they say no, we say, great, takes all the pressure off me as a salesperson. Love to spend time with you, show you all the different cars we have, and then we'll give you some numbers to take home and think about it. That lowers the customer's defensive. As soon as the customer sees that window sticker and that additional markup, we've got to let them know of the value that we're creating in that vehicle for them. And that's very important. This type of sticker shock, this type of value will take a little bit of time to earn. It might take 5, 10, 15 minutes before the customer starts to release that sticker shock momentum. The other thing is this, and I've said this all the time, and it's a great catchphrase. Make a $60,000 presentation to sell a $50,000 car. I mean, you've got to exceed the value. It's very easy to sell more value, but if you sell less value, nobody wants to buy that product. So if you got a $50,000 automobile, well, make a $60,000 presentation. Make that customer want that car and want that value. Why? Because it's the only antidote to sticker shock. It's the only way you're going to release that defensive posture that the customer has over sticker shock. Basically, the only antidote to sticker shock is value. create the value, and the sticker shock will go away. Now, value can only be found in three places: the product, the salesperson, and the dealership. Those are the only three places we're going to create value. Some of the things only you control. And believe it or not, it's all of it that you can control. You can control the value they see in the product. You control the value they see in the salesperson as you, and you can see the value you create in the dealership. That's all you're doing. Will the car sell its own value? Yes, some of them do, but you're the one that creates that value. So, fact, when your fair price causes customers to faint, means that they misunderstood your value. If at the end of the process, if they're still not gotten over the sticker shock, well, you didn't create the value. Maybe their expectations were set by what they paid last time. Now they're seeing a big increase. I know that would be a problem for me. Maybe they saw a competitor's price somewhere else cheaper. A lot of dealerships are not advertising the full price with the additional dealer markup. Maybe they forgot about the after-sales service. You didn't do a good enough job selling service in what you provide. Maybe they think they're still living in 1981, which a lot of people are. Some people think the prices of cars are just outrageously expensive. You know, it's funny. If the average car is $35,000, $40,000, you look at all that technology in there, that's really a heck of a bargain. The point is this: customers don't understand your value proposition as well as you do. So you've got to present that. Again, it's all up to you. When you hear your price is too high, when somebody says that to you, you got to recognize it for what it is. And it means you have to work harder to create that value proposition. You've got to set those expectations. Sticker shock occurs when there's a disconnect between expectations and reality. Remember that. It occurs when there's a disconnect between expectations and reality. Set the customer's expectations early on in the process. How do you do that? How do you set those expectations? By going above and beyond their expectations, by knowing your product inside and out. You've got to know your product. You've got to be prepared. You've got to keep selling. That's very, very important. By being the consummate professional, you create additional value. By being energetic, it's really important. Turn it on when the customer walks in. You can turn it off when they leave. It doesn't matter. By being enthusiastic, by making a friend and creating that relationship with the customer. By being 100% honest and upfront, by removing any fears and defenses, and by catching them pleasantly off guard. By making that great presentation, you make them want to buy from you. You know, I always ask this when I'm with salespeople. Do you think customers will pay $100 more to buy from you? And I'm sure they will. Will they pay $500 more? Sure they will. Will they pay $1,000 more? I don't know, maybe. What would make somebody want to spend $500 more to buy from you? It's got to be everything you have to offer, from your dealership, your product, to you as a salesperson. So be confident about your price. If you provide value, then price will be justified. Your negotiations will become easy. Feel uncomfortable talking about price, and it means you did not provide that elite experience. You did not provide the value. They got subconscious cues and they reacted accordingly. Feel confident about your price. It will naturally make the customer feel confident. So think about this, and I'm going to jump into some questions here. I got a bunch of them coming in. Don't make price a bigger deal than it is. It's not. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is. Demonstrate the value, and many people would rather pay more for exceptional value. I know that you're saying, no, everybody comes in and they're on a tight budget. That situation has gone away for the time being. But remember one thing, and this is really, really important. There is going to come a day that we're not going to have a supply and demand problem. There's going to come a day when you're going to have plenty of cars in stock. What we don't want to have happen is we don't want to go back to the old way of doing things, where we're negotiating, where we're selling cars for $100, $200, $300 under invoice. That's not going to benefit anybody at all, even the customer. Because what happens is this: when they chisel you down and work you over and work you, and you finally sell the car and you make a mini commission, $100, $150, $200, whatever it is. Do you really want to go the extra mile for that customer down the road? Most of us don't. So create value and let's make some money. All right, let me look at some questions. There's a bunch of them popping in here. Maury wants to know, do you think it's the right thing for dealerships to be selling cars with an addendum price, or will this come back to haunt the dealerships? That's a tough question. Do I think it's right? Yes. I don't have any problem with adding an additional dealer markup sticker on there. I just want to make sure we're creating the right value. Are we giving them something? What I don't like, just me personally, is the window sticker that just says ADMU, additional dealer markup, $3,000. And then when the customer asks why, you say, well, supply and demand. I'm not a fan of that. If you're going to ask for $3,000 with an additional dealer markup sticker, then give me $3,000 more of something. Give me rust proofing, paint protection, sealant for my tires, whatever you got to give me, tire and wheel protection. Give me something for my value. John wants to know, are you surprised the government has not stepped in and made it illegal to add price addendums on vehicles without limitations? Yes, I am very, very surprised. And will that happen? Yes, if we keep taking advantage of the situation. Eventually, some congressman, some senator is going to hear from a constituent, go to a dealership, find out that someone paid $8,000 above the sticker price just because it was supply and demand, and somebody's going to go in and there's going to be a problem. So yes. So my suggestion is this: if we all stay fair and reasonable during this time, this will not become a problem. All right, Kia sales desk. I'm not sure how to handle a customer saying that our competition down the street has the same car. I'm trying to read through this. Has an addendum. Okay, has an addendum charge that is $2,000. Okay, so what I'm saying is someone has a lower addendum than you do. Kia sales desk. That's a tough one. $2,000. If I loved you to death, would I pay $2,000 more? No. I'm just going to be honest with you. Would I pay $1,000 more? No. Would I pay $300, $400, $500 more? Absolutely. So what you've got to do is you've got to determine how much you're willing to discount at that point to earn that customer. Remember one thing, and I know this is hard for us because we're in the car business. Money is not everything. Sometimes when you're already making $3,000, to make another $400 or $500 and lose that customer, I don't know if it's worth it. You're still going to pick them up for service revenue. You might get referrals. You might get friends. You might get family members. You got to think about this long and hard. Eric wants to know, do you think we should discuss the addendum charge right up front and get it out of the way so I don't have to deal with it later? That's a good question, Eric. I think you have to feel that one out. I think that if the customer is at the window sticker for a long period of time and they're looking at that window addendum, then yeah, I think you need to bring it up then. If they look at the window sticker and move on, no, I don't think you should bring it up then. So it's a judgment call. Leah, we routinely turn away customers who will only agree to pay MSRP. How should I handle this type of customer? Okay, if I'm understanding your question, if the customer wants to negotiate, you just send them on their way. How should I handle this type of customer? Now, I think that it's all based again on the value. If you made a $60,000 presentation on a $50,000 car, price won't be as much of an issue. But number two, I think that your management team, and it's up to your management team, has to look closely at, is it worth losing a customer for $100 or $200? That's a decision you have to make. What can you control? The value you present. Honda conference room, we'll do one or two more. How should I handle someone who says they will pay the $3,000 addendum, but only if we give them an additional $3,000 for their trade? Wow, that's a great question. I'm going to have to relate back to value. A trade is worth what a trade is worth. And what we have to sell the customer on is that their trade is already worth an increased amount of value. I would think I'd explain to them that had this been a year ago, if we're giving them $30,000 for their trade, we would only be giving them $25,000 a year ago. So I'd have to tell them that already is included in what we're giving them for their trade, because their trade is worth a lot more. And we are giving more for trades because we can sell them for more, and we know that. All right, last one. Matt wants to know, our dealer has decided to advertise all addendums to the exact amount to avoid being sued for bait and switch. Our competition, however, is not including the addendum price in their ads, and only that an addendum charge may apply. As a result, our leads have dwindled significantly. Well, Matt, that is a tough one. I will be honest with you. Your dealership has the right, your dealer has the right to do what he or she thinks is best. I fully understand that. I think right now, if you are selling all the cars in inventory that you got and you don't have a problem, I don't think I would worry about it at this point. Let's hope that when things start to settle down, people will stop advertising those addendum window stickers. I think that if customers, bring it up with you, I think I would just say, listen, we're a very, very transparent dealership. You're going to see the same thing over there, but they're not going to tell you that until, you go and look at the car or until the end of the presentation. We just believe in being upfront with all of our customers. And then I would say pretty much, the price of the car is going to be the price of the car. You have to decide, and I say this all the time to customers, you have to decide what you want to buy, what you're willing to pay, and who you're willing to buy it from. And I always say to customers, it's not all about the price. Sure, a couple of $1,000, I fully understand. But if we're $200, $300, $400, $500 apart, I truly hope that you'll see the value in what we have to provide versus what someone else has to provide. So with that said, I want to thank you very much for joining me for another episode of Live with David Lewis. I hope everyone is doing well and being safe, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye-bye, everybody.